What do we know about each of the 9 upcoming Disney Plus Marvel series? Let's dig into the details and find out on today's episode of Marvel Plus. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Marvel Plus, the companion podcast for all Disney Plus Marvel series. My name is Brett Scott, I am your host, and this is the show. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a detailed article that I found that really lays out what we can expect from each of the 9 upcoming MCU-connected series on Disney Plus. So, ready or not, let's dig into this article from AndroidAuthority.com. Alright, so this article is, like I said, AndroidAuthority.com, and it's written by John Callahan. So let's just dig right into it. There's a big intro telling how the MCU series are going to be canon, unlike any other series we've had before for Marvel, and it tells you basically, the intro. It tells you all about Disney Plus and the plans for these shows. So I'm not going to go into all that. You're listening to this podcast. Obviously, you know the basics. But what I wanted to look at is the way it breaks down each of these 9 shows and kind of gives you as much description as we have thus far. So we start off with WandaVision. And I'll just read from the article and elaborate, if I feel like, hey, I got something to throw in here. But here we go. The first Disney Plus MCU series looks like it will be something very different. WandaVision stars Elizabeth Olsen, reprising her role as the magic-based character Wanda Maximoff, also known as the Scarlet Witch. It also stars Paul Bettany, who is back as the superpowered android known as Vision. You may remember that at the end of the movie Avengers Infinity War, Vision was killed by Thanos. Hopefully, we will get an explanation of why Vision is back in this series. Based on the trailer, which, this is me talking now, which we've already talked about on this podcast before, and if you're interested in that episode, go back and watch the episode that talks about, it says something about Fury and trailers, oh my. That one talks about all the trailers that we've seen thus far. Alright, back to the article. The trailer depicts the happy couple in a number of different TV family sitcom cliches, including the 1960s in black and white, similar to the Dick Van Dyke Show, the 1970s like All in the Family, and the 1980s in a show like Family Ties, and finally in the 1990s in a Roseanne-like sitcom. What's going on? Well, we'll have to wait to find out. 3 more MCU characters will show up in WandaVision. Randall Park is back as FBI agent Jimmy Woo, last seen in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Also, Kat Dennings returns as Darcy Lewis from both Thor and Thor the Dark World. Monica Rambeau, last seen as a kid in the 1990s in Captain Marvel, will be in the show as an adult, now played by Teyonah Parris. Actor Kathryn Hahn will also show up as a new character described as a nosy neighbor for Wanda and Vision. That's interesting. See, I watched the trailer, but I didn't necessarily pinpoint what eras and what types of shows, so that's pretty cool. This is exactly why I wanted to dig into this article, because a lot of people are a lot smarter than I am, and they pick out things that I never would have. So, Jack Schaefer, who co-wrote Captain Marvel and the upcoming Black Widow movie, will be the head writer and showrunner for WandaVision. The show will be 6 episodes. Filming of the series was close to completion when COVID-19 outbreak forced all movies and TV shows to shut down production. It's expected to finish shooting later this year. Disney is now targeting a December 2020 release for the series. Alright, now we get into what we were supposed to get first, but obviously it was delayed because it was even further behind than WandaVision. So we get into number 2 on this list, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which says release date 2021. This Disney Plus Marvel Cinematic Universe TV show will center on two highly popular MCU characters, Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, played by Anthony Mackie, and Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, played by Sebastian Stan. It will follow up directly from the events at the end of the MCU film Avengers Endgame. Spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, an aged Steve Rogers gives Wilson Captain America's shield, and in the recent Disney Plus Marvel trailer, we see Sam Wilson throwing that shield around for practice. However, it appears that Wilson might have to give up that shield to someone else. We don't know all the details yet, but it looks like a new Captain America-like superhero called U.S. Agent, played by Wyatt Russell, will get the shield at some point during the series. Two more MCU characters will show up in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. One is Helmut Zemo, played again by Daniel Bruhl, who portrayed the villainous character in Captain America Civil War. Great character. That Captain America Civil War is the Captain America series, which I've talked about before, is by far my favorite three films, solo films in the series. The Captain America series is, to me, the best written, best acted, and just best overall story of the MCU. Anyway, back to the article. Moving on. Let's see. Emily Van Camp will also return as Sharon Carter, the now former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that was also last seen in Captain America Civil War. The teaser trailer showed a brief action scene, which we talked about in the very first episode of Marvel Plus, of some men in wingsuits flying, with the Falcon in hot pursuit. We also saw U.S. Agent being introduced in some kind of rally, and Bucky pulling a gun on Zemo. So yeah, that little trailer, that little teaser, it was kind of, it was ridiculous. We might have gotten 10 seconds of actual footage, because it was a mix of footage from the different series. And yeah, we basically got about 10 seconds of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so not much info at all from that trailer. The series will have a total of 6 episodes, much like WandaVision. Malcolm Spellman, who was a writer and producer for the Fox show Empire, is the showrunner and head writer for this series. Derek Kolstad, best known as the main screenwriter for the 3 John Wick films, is also part of the writing team for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Kerry Skoglund, a veteran TV director, will direct the first episode of the series. Filming of the series was close to completion when COVID-19 outbreak forced all movies and TV shows to shut down production. However, production is expected to finish shooting later this year. The series missed its previously announced debut month of August 2020, and it's been pushed back to sometime in 2021. This is probably the series that I'm most looking forward to out of all of these MCU series. This is the one that when I heard about it, I was like, oh, that's going to be a good one, because I feel like it has the potential to introduce, now this is just me, this is my wishful thinking, but the potential to introduce mutants or something to do with the X-Men, or the Weapon X program or something like that. Somehow, I don't think they're actually going to bring in Wolverine or something like that. I think that would be a little too on the nose, but I could be way off. I bet a lot of people are thinking that Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the best place to introduce mutants or, something from the X-Men universe. And maybe it's just kind of a red herring. Maybe they, they'll not do it because that's what everyone expects. It's kind of like people were kind of ridiculously thinking that Wolverine was going to pop up at the end of Endgame or something like that. Like, no way. Anyway, I don't think they'll do anything too on the nose like that. But I do think it has the best potential to at least have, little Easter eggs, little maybe mutant or X-Men Easter eggs. So, all right. Going forward, Loki to be released in 2021. Tom Hiddleston is coming back as Loki. the Norse god of mischief. The series will follow his adventures after the events of Avengers Endgame, where, spoiler alert, we saw Loki disappear after taking the Tesseract. In the recent trailer, we saw Loki in what looks like some kind of prison uniform, promising to burn this place to the ground. The uniform Loki is wearing in the trailer has the initials TVA. Fans of Marvel's comics know that might stand for Time Variance Authority, an organization in the Marvel Universe that patrols the timelines and keeps them from going astray. Loki is likely trying to cause some issues with the timeline in this 6-episode series. So once again, 6 episodes. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and say these are all going to be 6 episodes. But let's go forward and find out. Actor Owen Wilson will appear in Loki, I did not know that, in a currently undisclosed role. Michael Waldron, who wrote for Rick and Morty, is the head writer for the series. So, man, that could get wild. That could definitely... I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan. I think this could get really wild with a writer from Rick and Morty here. Alright, filming of the series had just started when COVID-19 outbreak forced all the movies and TV shows to shut down. It's expected to finish shooting later this year. Number 4, Hawkeye, also expected in 2021. Actor Jeremy Renner is scheduled to return as Clint Barton, also known as Hawkeye, in this Disney Plus Marvel series. We know that the show will take place after Avengers Endgame, and will show Barton training and possibly passing the title of the Archer Hawkeye to Kate Bishop, a character that's already been introduced in the Marvel comic book universe. Jonathan Igla, who wrote a number of episodes of Mad Men, is the head writer for Hawkeye. So as you can see, as we get further out in these series, the further away from like the first 2 that are coming out, the less and less we know about it, and the shorter and shorter the articles are. So I think that's cool though that I didn't know that Owen Wilson had something to do with Loki. Had no idea. Anyway, now we're moving on. Ms. Marvel, the 5th series to come in 2021. Marvel Studios is developing a series based on Ms. Marvel, aka Kamala Khan. In the Marvel Comics universe, she's a teenage Pakistani American who has shape-shifting powers. Bisha K. Ali will be its head writer. Adil El Arbi, Bilal Falah, Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy, and Mira Menon have been hired as directors. Acting newcomer Iman Vellani has reportedly been cast as Ms. Marvel, but so far, Marvel Studios has not commented on these reports. Number 6, and probably the third series that I'm most excited about. So it goes Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then WandaVision, and then, you know what? Actually, I might be more excited about this series than any of the series. And I went into that in my most recent episode before this. The previous episode to this one, I talked about Moon Knight. And that's also expected in 2021. I'm guessing, though, that some of these are going to get bumped because the first ones were delayed. Because I don't think they're going to smash them all together like that. I really think they're going to have some space in between them. So I did a whole podcast about how Oscar Isaac was cast as Moon Knight, and I went into all the details of that. So if you're interested in that, go back and listen. But the reason I'm so excited about Moon Knight is because I know nothing about the character. And I'm trying as hard as I can to avoid any details about his backstory, about his powers, about anything, because he's one of the few Marvel characters that I don't know a lot about, and I want to be surprised. I want a brand new story. Now, after I watch the series, I'll probably dig into the comics and go into, all the canon and the details and try to figure out, if I like the comic book series. But I have to say that I'm really excited about being introduced to a brand new character. All right, let's go into what the article says. Moon Knight, one of the most popular Marvel comic book characters, is also slated to get his own Disney Plus Marvel TV series. Now that's crazy, because I didn't know he was one of the most popular. Is that true? Is that actually true? Is Moon Knight one of the most popular Marvel comic book characters? Because like I said, until a few years ago, I didn't even know about Moon Knight. And that's the honest truth. And I've been an X-Men fan going way back. And more recently, an Avengers fan. And I didn't know who Moon Knight was until, I don't know, I think I ran across a random comic and I was like, who the hell's Moon Knight? And then I heard they were developing a series, and like, that's it. And I purposely decided I'm not going to find out about this character because I want to be surprised. Okay, here we go. So they say he's one of the most popular Marvel comic book characters. I don't know how that's possible because I'm not the biggest fan of the comic books in the world, but I mean, I pretty much know what's going on. I keep tabs on it. I digress. His real name in the comics is Mark Spector, who believes he received superior strength and stamina from the Egyptian moon god Khonshu. However, there's also evidence that Spector might have some mental issues that put his powers into question. Jeremy Slater will be the head writer for Moon Knight. And this article actually came out before the Oscar Isaac news, and it says, Deadline reports that Marvel is in talks with Oscar Isaac to take on the lead role. He is best known for his role as Resistance pilot Poe Dameron in Star Wars sequel trilogy. He was also Apocalypse, the lead villain in the Marvel, but not MCU, X-Men movie, X-Men Apocalypse. Terrible film. Terrible portrayal of Apocalypse, and not because of Oscar Isaac, but because they just didn't know how to write Apocalypse. I hope that they do something epic and beautiful with Apocalypse going forward in the films. If they do that, all will be right with the world. Like, I've been waiting to see a proper Apocalypse movie, and maybe even somehow delve into the Age of Apocalypse, the 1990s series that basically scrambled all the comic books for 4 months. So, yeah, if they can do Apocalypse right, it would just be, I mean, if they can make Apocalypse a Thanos-level character in the MCU, I'd be in heaven. I would be so ecstatic. All right. Next series, number 7, She-Hulk. This also says it's expected in 2021, but like I said, I'm highly doubting these dates or these years at this point, just because the other ones have been pushed back now, 4 months from their original plans? So I have a feeling that everything's kind of going to be about 4 months back from where it is. We might not see this series until 2021, but let's get into it. Another popular Marvel Comics character is getting her own show. In the comics, Jennifer Walters got shot and was near death until her cousin Bruce Banner showed up to give Jennifer a transfusion of his gamma-based blood. The transfusion turned Jennifer into another green-skinned superpowered hero. Jessica Gao will be the showrunner for She-Hulk series. Kat Coiro, who has directed episodes of shows like Shameless, Dead to Me, Modern Family, and more, will direct the pilot and other episodes. And then there's an adage here. It says, Deadline is reporting that Tatiana Maslany has been cast as Jennifer Walters / She-Hulk, but that has yet to be confirmed by Marvel. Maslany is best known for her role in the BBC America series Orphan Black, where she played several different characters, all of which were clones of each other. Now, there's been some news, actually, since this article that says she denies that. Like, she said, no, that's not true. So we're going to have to find out if that's actually fact going forward, because I have no idea. It seemed like that the other reporting was correct, the Vellani reporting, where she was playing Ms. Marvel, but the She-Hulk news might not be true. All right, number 8. This one I'm also very excited about, and it's an animated series called What If. Now, back in the 90s, I was a big fan of the What If comic books, and basically what they would do is give you an alternate universe version of the characters you knew every month. They would say, what if the Fantastic Four never existed? Or what if Cyclops was a bad guy? Like, it would be random stuff like that, right? And they would have a whole issue of the comic book, showing you a world that had been changed because, one thing was massively different. All right, so let's see what they say here. This Disney Plus MCU series will be different because it will be an animated series. Ooh, here we go. Rather than live action, the 10-episode series will examine what the MCU might be like if some events happen differently. For example, one episode will show how things would have changed if Agent Peggy Carter got the super serum treatment in World War II rather than Steve Rogers. Wow, that would have been crazy. The premise of the show is based loosely on the Marvel Comics series that has been published on and off since the 1970s. Most of the actors from the MCU movies will reprise their character roles as voice talent. Now, see, I think that's cool. I think that's cool because they're all going to be in the series, the live action series, but they're also going to be involved in voicing their characters in this alternate universe series. I love it. Jeffrey Wright will introduce each episode as the cosmic character The Watcher. Marvel Studios is so confident in the series that it has already ordered a second 10-episode series slated for 2022. That's awesome. See, this is news to me. I'm reading this article with you, and I didn't know that they were already down for a season 2. And I think I read the same thing about Loki the other day. This is massive news. Like, I wasn't sure if they were going to do it, if they were going to do season 2s, or if they were going to do different characters, like series of different characters, but I'm ecstatic. Like, this is the world I dreamed of when I was a kid, reading Marvel Comics before the X-Men movies ever came out. Like, oh man, can you imagine if they made really good Marvel movies and TV shows? Like, how awesome that would be. And now I'm literally living my dream. And I don't even have to do anything for it to happen. So, all right. That's awesome news. So 2 10-episode seasons of What If are coming. All right. Now we've reached the final one, and I think this is the one we know the least about. And this is the untitled Nick Fury series. Samuel L. Jackson apparently can't quit the MCU. While this has yet to be confirmed by Disney, Variety is reporting that the company is fast-tracking a series starring Jackson as S.H.I.E.L.D. leader and super spy Nick Fury. The report adds that Kyle Bradstreet, best known as a writer and producer for USA Network's Mr. Robot, has signed on as a writer and executive producer for the new show. Story details for the series are currently unknown. See, like I said, the other ones at least had little tidbits of story that or at least some background on the character. This one just literally says, we don't know. No idea what it's about. Complete secret. Jackson first appeared as Fury in the post-credits scene from the first MCU movie, Iron Man, back in 2008. What's funny about that is when they made Iron Man, I don't think they had any plans of creating an MCU. There was no cinematic universe. They were just making an Iron Man movie. And it turned into this glorious thing that we have now. It's insane to me. It boggles my mind all the time just thinking about that. That's crazy. It's crazy how it worked out. I'm so glad it did. All right, the article says, that's all we know currently about the many Disney Plus Marvel Cinematic Universe TV shows that will be dropping over the next couple of years. All right, ladies and gents, that is going to do it for today's episode. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out on Twitter or Instagram at RealBrettScott. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to follow or favorite the podcast so you won't miss an episode. Also, if you'd like to see this podcast grow, the best thing that you can do is to share the episode on social media. The response so far has been awesome, and I thank you. I know there are a million Marvel podcasts, so it really means a lot that you've given this one a chance. I know with all the delays, it's been a long wait, but the series are right around the corner now, and I can't wait to start breaking down these series. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to get some guest hosts on here and really dive deep into these stories. So with that, I bid you adieu, and I will speak to you again very soon. Once again, my name is Brett Scott, and this has been Marvel Plus.